September 15th, 2008. It's Monday. Um, obviously, I have to do an update today. So that's why I'm going to do one. Once again, I appreciate everybody that's been watching. And I don't know really how to express it. It's not a happy thing to see my predictions come true. It's not necessarily a happy thing. So I will once again endeavor to condense my thoughts into 15 minutes, even though it seems like a lifetime of things happened between Sunday night and Monday night on Wall Street. I'm wearing my shirt and tie in honor of Lehman Brothers. Lehman Brothers is gone. I grew up, I remember when I was at Brigham Young University, I got one of those cheap or free subscriptions to the Wall Street Journal, and I kept reading it. I read the Wall Street Journal. I just read it all the time. I read it all the time in paper form for years, and I remember looking at the tombstones when there would be a big IPO or a bond float, and just have always admired the venerable Wall Street names like Lehman Brothers, which was 150 years old, survived for 158 years, and now it's bankrupt, gone. So I feel for all those people on Wall Street, very, very sharp, smart, dedicated people that are gone, wiped out of a job, and it's a rough road. I know. There's all kinds of different emotions and feelings about this, but I feel for those people on Wall Street that are getting crushed, and I know my life it's been very different, and I wanted to tell this story because Merrill Lynch, bought by B of A. Once again, pretty much of a mind blower. I remember looking at those tombstones: Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner and Smith, White, Weld Capital Markets, and just thinking, cool, they did a float, they did this, they did that. I've been watching Wall Street closely since about 1979 or so. So about almost 30 years. Anyway, I remember reading my cases at Harvard, and I was really happy to get a Category 1 in capital markets. But I remember walking around Harvard Square, seeing, I just could see the future. I knew that it wasn't going to last. I knew that this system was built up on debt. I knew it back 25 years ago. People were raising the alarm systems, and now we're finally witnessing the collapse. And I know there's people that are hopeful it'll come back, in a few months or a couple years, but this current system is going to go through complete and utter collapse. Most of it's planned, and it'll collapse further than the conspiracy is planned, and then we will go through and have a whole new economic order. Maybe I'll explain that in another video, how the economy will look after Western civilization, as we know it now, collapses. So let's talk about Lehman Brothers. It doesn't seem like that long ago that I talked about Bear Stearns and then Lehman Brothers. I mean, it's amazing that it's trading, under $1, and that it's bankrupt. It's just, to me, it's amazing, and somewhat upsetting. Then Merrill Lynch, bought by a bank. And then watching WaMu, the Fed injected, okay, everybody out there, $70 billion today to keep things going. And I got that from Steve Lehman on CNBC. Thanks, Steve, for that factoid. $70 billion. And the market was still down 504 points. And the futures right now are down 90. I'm looking CNN Money and CNBC.com. Seoul, Korea, Tokyo plummet as Asia gets mauled. Just, PIMCO's gross. He's talking about it's going to get worse. Well, we know that. Wilbur Ross, possibly 1,000 banks will close. Another guy I was watching on CNBC said probably half of them, of the 9,000 banks might close. I think that was the CEO of Bank of America. And I'll tell you right here now, it'll be more than 90%. In fact, I know how many banks are going to survive, but if people wouldn't believe it if I told them right now. But maybe you'll believe this and look back and see this video. More than 90% of U.S. banks will utterly fail. So we're going to watch that, and the question is whether it's going to take few more months or 2 years, but you'll see upwards of 90% of U.S. banks fail. Those that have their money in WaMu, I'm sure there'll be lines tomorrow, but if I had my money in WaMu, which I don't, I would obviously get it out. If not just for the inconvenience of standing in line. The FDIC, another fact that came out on CNBC, and I'm grateful to the staff at CNBC. They look kind of shell-shocked. I was watching Joe this morning, and had a lot of thoughts about watching TV today. People realize it was a historical day. But back to one of the facts they said is that the FDIC has $50 billion to cover $1 trillion in deposits. That's 1 out of 20. 1/20th of deposits are covered in the U.S. financial system. So Lehman Brothers gone, very sad. The sun's setting right here. I'm working off the glow of my computer monitor. And then Merrill Lynch being bought by a bank, totally amazing. And then AIG, and then oil, you're down $6. It's just amazing what's been going on. But AIG, a huge insurance conglomerate, and looking really bad. So I'll interject this really quick, okay? 6 minutes, 20 seconds. If you think about it, there's guys in suits managing the economy, macro managing it. It's not micromanaging at this site. It's macro management, trying to manage the whole economy, and actually the whole world's being affected by this, as all of you know. But I had some peaches and cream, and I threw some strawberries today. But the peaches were from here in Utah, absolutely delicious. The raw milk cream was from here in Utah, and those things actually in a certain economy could be free. So it's kind of pathetic. It can seem mysterious and amazing that people, like, let's say, that have fruit trees and cows and everything that they need to live here in Utah are dependent on what's going on in Washington and Wall Street. That's why the Great Depression kind of makes me angry that, there were soup lines and this and that, and the sun kept coming up. I know there was a dust bowl, in Oklahoma and those kind of areas, but, just if you live where things grow, we should be able to survive and prosper without manipulation and things from Wall Street. And that's where we're going to head. This system will utterly and completely collapse. Right now, people don't believe it, but I think some people are starting to believe it. And you guys out there on YouTube that are watching me, I hear you. My family's against me. They don't believe me. Well, they're going to start believing it. Or they're really, 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 really stupid and really have their head in the sand. Whatever. But as far as football goes, I almost can't believe people would be watching football yesterday when the U.S. economy is actually collapsing. A 158-year-old firm declares bankruptcy on Sunday. I can't believe people are watching football. I just, I have absolutely zero interest in watching that kind of thing or watching some kind of stupid TV show when we have the collapse of the biggest economy in world history right now. And it's going to affect the whole world. So let me just look at a couple other headlines here. Oh gosh, it's just PIMCO's gross. Global credit crunch is worsening. Yeah, true enough. Lehman after Chapter 11, where can employees turn? Oil prices like to keep falling. What you think about the crisis? Well, a lot of my people that watch here on YouTube, and I appreciate the thousands that are watching this. I think there's a belief that what's going to collapse and Jesus is going to come in like a month or two. No. There's a lot of horrible things that have to come. We need to go through. There's going to be a cleansing. There's going to be a total collapse of the economy. There'll be starvation and war on this continent in the United States. And unfortunately, that's going to last more than just a couple of years. It's going to last, I think, at least 5, 6 years. And then there's all the things we're going to have before that, which is has to do with the conspiracy trying to save the system, the New World Order, one world government, all that kind of stuff. We will witness that. But the prophets for thousands of years have looked forward to these days. So feel privileged that you get to live in the most intense times in the history of the world. And so I know we're going to go and collapse, but at the same time, from the ashes, a new society will rise up based on true principles, based on the principles of life, and based on joy and happiness, and doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. God bless all. I'll probably have to make another video very soon with the financial collapse happening so fast before us. Hang in there. It's a rocket ride. Ciao.